Here we will draw the corticopontocerebellar pathway. For this diagram, we need to draw one side of the brain stem, and also the cerebellum. Indicate that the pathway originates in the primary motor and sensory cortices. Although the majority of inputs for this pathway originate within the primary motor and sensory strips, wide-reaching brain regions actually contribute to this pathway. Most of us never realize that 90% of the primary motor strip fibers join the corticopontocerebellar pathway, whereas only 10% join the corticospinal pathway. Now show the corticopontocerebellar fibers descend to the pons where they make their first synapse. Next, draw the middle cerebellar peduncle and establish the midline of the diagram. Show the pontine nuclei project fibers across the pontine midline through the middle cerebellar peduncle into the contralateral cerebellum. The inferior and middle cerebellar peduncles are the main inflow pathways into the cerebellum, and the superior cerebellar peduncle is the main outflow pathway from the cerebellum. Next, indicate that the pontine fibers synapse in the cerebellar cortex. Then show the cortex fibers project to the dentate nucleus, which lies deep within the cerebellum. Next, draw the superior cerebellar peduncle. Indicate that fibers exit the cerebellum through that peduncle and cross midline at the level of the midbrain to synapse in the ventrolateral nucleus of the thalamus. Some fibers peel off of this stretch of the pathway to synapse in the red nucleus instead. Now show the thalamus project fibers back to the primary motor strip. And finally, show the cortex project fibers through the corticospinal tract out to the periphery. These fibers cross midline at the cervicomedullary junction and descend the spinal cord to synapse on anterior horn cells before leaving the spinal cord through nerve roots. This concludes our drawing of the corticopontocerebellar pathway.